This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we have a DCS range that we're going to be putting in a new spark module. Pretty easy to do. Make sure you have it unplugged or you have the breaker turned off. We'll remove these 4 screws. There's a couple screws right on the front too that we removed to take off the front panel. Pulling out this grease sheet from underneath to give us a little bit more room to work. And then we just have to remove some screws that are holding the old spark module in place. The new one probably will look a little bit different. In this case, it's a different color, slightly different shape. But it works the same. It is the recommended spark module for this model. So there's 3 little screws on the bottom. They're Phillips head. Kind of hard to get to because you don't have much room there. And then they have nuts above them that are holding the spark module in position. And what I did is I put a little Phillips head screwdriver attachment onto a small ratchet, and then I spun off these screws. I had to hold the nut into position and then use my finger to kind of spin it off. Once I got those screws out, I was able to move the spark module out. There is a screw here on the left-hand side that's a little bit further back, about 1 inch back from where I was just working, which is really hard to get to because it's very cramped space. But if you have a small attachment, you can get a Phillips head screw in there. I'm taking a picture now of the position of the wires before I remove them. Usually what I like to do is put the new spark module into position right next to the old one and remove 1 wire at a time and then put it onto the new spark module, just so I don't have the mistake of putting the wrong wire on the wrong terminal. It is a little bit easy to do though if you do take a picture, because then you can just compare. But this is kind of the old school way of doing it, where you take out 1 wire at a time from the old module and then put it onto the new module. And these are spade connectors, so you just want to wiggle them off maybe with needle nose pliers, and then you can just push them on with your finger onto the new spark module. So just take your time, make sure you get them seated in there really tight. And then once we have those all transferred, there are 4 white wires that are on the left-hand side of the spark module that we want to transfer over also. And those are less critical for putting them on the exact same order as taking them off from the old module. You can mix and match those, it's okay. So we do want to get those on securely. They're a little bit different, a little bit smaller of a spade connector. Then once we get those on, we could just double check one more time that all the connections are tight, and then we'll go ahead and put the spark module back into position. You might be changing the spark module because you have a burner that doesn't operate, or maybe you have a couple of burners that just keep on clicking. There are many other reasons though that can cause those symptoms that you should try to rule out first, because spark modules aren't very cheap. But if you've ruled all those out, then you may want to put in a new spark module. So before I put it back together, what I think I'll do is use some contact cleaner and just clean a couple of the spots where there can be some corrosion. These are the switches that when you turn on the burner, they tell the spark module to send energy over to the igniter. So I want to make sure they're on there tight, all the connections are good. And this is just some electrical cleaner you can get at a hardware store. I'm going to spray that on all these terminals, and it does evaporate really fast, so there's no danger of it shorting anything out. It'll just clean any corrosion. Once you have that all cleaned up and everything's in place, we'll go ahead and put the front panel back on, and then we'll put in those 4 screws, we'll tighten those up, and then we can give it a test. So again, before you go to replacing a spark module, try some of the other things that could cause it to click. One of those might be that the burner got wet. If there's water in there or there's any kind of corrosion, it can make the igniter just keep on clicking. So get it nice and dry and make sure it's super clean. But if it still doesn't work, then it could be the spark module. So we're just putting the pieces back into position. You want to make sure that the burner heads are armed properly too, because that can create a situation where it'll just keep clicking, because the fire has to bathe the igniter for the igniter to turn back off. So hope that video has been helpful for you and you get your range going, and please subscribe when you get a chance. Thanks for watching.